Welcome to Chris's Storytelling Corner. My name is Christopher Moldong, and I am an author specializing in the fantasy genre. This channel, Chris's Storytelling Corner, will present you every week free original story content, such as readings of parts of novels that I wrote and short stories. Also, I will do manga reviews since much of what I write is influenced by anime and manga. You can check out my author's website at www.chrismoldon.com. If you have an e-reader, you can buy my works on amazon.com or a PDF copy on my website, starting with my first novel, a fantasy adventure called The Mustard Prince in the Convent Kingdom, for $4.99. Also, for just $1.99, you can buy my short stories and short story collections, starting with The Land of the Wooden Statues. Then there's the Horror Collection, which is a compilation of 3 of my Gothic horror short stories, and the Fantasy Fable Collection, which is a compilation of 4 of my Fantasy Fable short stories. You can also check out my Twitter page and author's Facebook page. Links to all these will be provided on the description. Today I will be doing manga reviews for Negima, volumes 1 through 4, and next week I'm going to go through volumes 5 through 8. Be sure to also check out the free reading of pages 1 through 7 of The Mustard Prince in the Convent Kingdom on this channel. The way that these manga reviews will work is I'm going to do a pretty detailed description or pretty detailed recap of each volume, and then I'll give my thoughts on, after I recap a volume, I'll give my thoughts on said volume, and yeah, that's pretty much how that's going to work. So, we start with volume 1 of Negima. We are introduced to a 10-year-old Negi Springfield who just graduated. He is with his sister and a girl named Anya. Their mystic diploma will dictate their career, and the diploma says that Negi will be a teacher in Japan. So we're shown Mahora Academy, where Negi will be a teacher, and then we're introduced to Asuna and the dean of Mahora Academy's granddaughter, Konoka. Asuna immediately does not get along with Negi. We are then introduced to Takahata Sensei, who is friends with Negi, but also Asuna has a crush on him. Apparently when Negi sneezes, it triggers a strong breeze that can rip off clothing. We're also introduced to the headmaster and Shizuna Sensei, and Shizuna Sensei will oversee Negi teaching the class. The dean also tells Negi that he will live with Asuna and Konoka. So Shizuna gives Negi a student list of his class, Class 2A, which is an all-girls class. They play pranks on Negi, like an eraser falls on his head when he opens the door. However, the eraser, when he goes through the door, the eraser floats a bit above Negi's head before it actually falls on his head, and then Asuna immediately notices that. The class just kind of hazes him and shows him no respect, thinking that he's cute and adorable. Then we're introduced to the class rep Ayako, who seems to have taken a liking to Negi and is pretty much at odds with Asuna. We're introduced to Nodoka, who carries a lot of books. She falls down a flight of stairs, and Negi saves her with magic. Asuna sees that, and privately, Negi admits to Asuna that he's a magician. Specifically, he tells her that he's training to be a Magister Magi. Or is it Magi? I think it's Magi. It's revealed that Asuna has a job very early in the morning. They have a bath scene where we're shown more of the class. Kind of typical Ken Akamatsu, actually. And then we see Negi trying to tutor his lowest scoring students, the Mighty Morphin Baka Rangers, Asuna being one of them. Asuna cannot do well on her test, and Negi tells her the man who gave him his staff, the Thousand Master, who is supposedly dead and knows 1,000 spells. He told Negi that he's grown and that he'll be watching him. Uh, Near the end of the volume, we have the class having a dodgeball competition with some high school girls. The winner gets Negi to be the instructor, but Negi's class 2A wins. So some thoughts on Volume 1. There's a lot of fan service. It is to be expected. If you ever read Love Hina, for example, AI I Love You, or Ken Akamatsu's works, something that is quite apparent, and with like 31 students, I assume all female, all of different like shapes, sizes, and whatnot. We're probably going to get a lot of that fan service. This volume is very much an introductory volume. I mean, nothing happens, of note per se. It's like we know he does Negi does magic. We know he teaches at a school. There's no real plot yet, except the fact that he teaches. There's no antagonist yet, and there's no real sense of danger as of yet, which is fine. It's the first volume. You need to just introduce everything. You like Negi, who seems to be a nice kid, but he's also like a pushover. Everything's kind of episodic right now. Everything's a bit beyond belief at this point, too, Whole situation with Negi becoming a teacher, 10 years old, and living with two of his female students. It's just a case where you have to, like, kind of suspend your disbelief. Asuna is kind of mean. She kind of reminds me of Naru, from Love Hina. She just has that, like, temperamental thing going on. That seems, and it's like the main character always seems to annoy her and frustrate her, kind of like how Keitaro is always like annoying and frustrating, like Naru in a sense. And right now, the class right now just seems to haze Negi. We don't know much about them yet. Hayaka just kind of seemingly likes him a lot. All the girls of class seem to like him a lot. Sina seems to hate him. Kanoko seems nice, but I don't know much else. We did get they did mention the Thousand Master, so that's interesting. I don't actually know much about him quite yet, but I'm sure that he's gonna play some sort of bigger role in the future. So in Volume 2, Shizuna Sensei recommends to the headmaster that he give Negi a passing grade. On April, he'll be able to hire him as an official instructor. But the headmaster tells Shizuna that he has one more challenge for Negi that relates to his wizarding potential and not his teaching. Is it Shizuna? Yeah, I guess so. The high school exam is coming up, and Negi finds out that his class 2A, always gets the lowest score out of the school. And the headmaster gives Negi a letter that says if 2A doesn't finish in last place, you'll be made an official teacher. So they just have to not get last place. So Negi tells the students that if this class can't avoid getting last place, we'll be in a tough spot. And that gets absolutely misinterpreted. He tries to use magic to make the lower graded students smarter, but Asuna stops him. So in order not like cheat, at being a teacher, he uses a spell on himself that'll make him unable to use magic for 3 days. Then a rumor spreads in Class 2A that the last place class will be broken up, which, like I said, what he said before is misinterpreted. So, see the Baka Rangers who are Asuna, Yue, Kaede, Feiku, or is it Kufei, and Makie come with a plan from Yue to go to Library Island and find a magic book there that'll make the reader smart. So Negi, the Baka Rangers all go to Library Island. Haruna, Konoka, and Nodoka guide them via technology like phones and whatnot. Negi reveals to Asuna that he is powerless, so that Library Island, the Baka Rangers and Nagi go underground, but there are booby traps and obstacles in the way. Negi senses something magical down there, and before they can get the magic book, they have to play a version of Twister. Giant stone statue asks them questions. Negi finds the statue's voice to be familiar. They don't answer one of the questions correctly and fall deeper into Library Island, into this like illusionary underground reading room, and they all decide to study there. The giant stone statue appears and captures Makie. They see the magic book on the statue's neck, and they fight the statue, rescue her, retrieve the magic book, and make a run for it back to the surface with the statue chasing them. They find a giant spiral staircase that goes up, but also has random questions along the way. And at the end of the spiral staircase is an elevator. So in the elevator, there's too much weight, and the statue is still trying to stop them. So Asuna throws the magic book at it, and it falls down. They then make it back to the surface and take the test, but are late. They take the test in a separate room. The Baka Rangers do. But they're all tired, so Negi uses a spell to give them energy. So after the test, the headmaster requests to grade the papers from the 8 latecomers, but he has a bandage, like suspiciously has this bandage on his head. They get the lowest score, the class does, and Negi runs away. He reaches the train station, but Asuna stops him. The rest of the class catch up to him along with the headmaster, and he tells Negi that they didn't account for the 8 latecomers' scores, and that his class got the highest score. Negi is then appointed a full-time teacher the next term. So we're introduced to a chapter featuring Chisame Hasagawa, who acts aloof. She is highly suspicious of the many exchange students, and an obvious robot that's in her class. It is then revealed that she has a double life as an online idol named Chew. Or is it Chewy? And Negi finds out about it. In the next chapter, we're introduced to Fuka Narutaki and Fumika Narutaki. They are part of the strolling club and show Negi the world tree. They both kiss Negi on the cheek at the same time, and write in his classroom log. Next chapter after that focuses on Ayaka, Yukihiro, and her volatile relationship with Asuna since they were young. It turns out that Asuna cares for her more than she lets on, and that Ayaka lost her little brother way back when she was a kid. In the next chapter, Negi's sister sends him a letter inquiring if he's found his partner or Minister Magi. Both Negi and Asuna listen to this message. Kanoka overhears them and thinks they are talking about Negi coming to Japan to find a lover. Kanoka then tells the whole dorm, who chase after him. He escapes by flying away, runs into Kanoka, who's in the middle of an omiai, like an arranged, not an arranged marriage, but arranged dates. Hope that the parents hope will lead to a marriage, I think, is what it is. And at the end of the volume, the girls from the dorm catches up to them, and nothing really happens. So, some thoughts on Volume 2. The Library Island arc was fun. We got to see more of the students and get just a better sense of adventure, bigger sense of the world that they inhabit. I mean, this was one, I guess you can call it, a dungeon in what seems to be a very large world. There's, treasure hunting and shenanigans that went on. Library Island, it was just a really enigmatic place. They're climbing bookshelves, they're climbing down bookshelves. There's underground study areas with places to relax and whatnot. So it's also just nice to see them have an actual story arc at this point. It still had the episodic stuff, but I understand what they're doing with the episodic chapters. It's you need character development. You have Negi and then 31 students. So it's How do you introduce each student? You give them their own chapter. But yeah, you can only do that for so long and so many times. So it's just nice to see an actual like story arc happen. Chisame and Asuna both just kind of remind me of Naru from Love Hina. I mean, they seem easily angered, kind of like she is and whatnot, and they kind of look like her too. Um, and also the Asuna and Ayaka episode, well, that was sweet. They're like really friends. They don't act like it. They actually like fight each other and whatnot. But I guess you can kind of assume that there was like more than it seemed between the two, and this chapter kind of showed that. So, in volume 3, at the beginning of the volume, Makie gets attacked. Negi starts the third year, but Evangeline A.K. McDowell stares at him intently. In the bath, a rumor goes around about the vampire at Cherry Blossom Street. Makie is in bed in the sick room, and it was said that she was found out cold on Cherry Blossom Street. So Nodoka walks alone through Cherry Blossom Street and gets attacked. Negi flies to the rescue and uses a spell on the vampire, but the spell gets reflected. The vampire turns out to be Evangeline. Evangeline says to Negi, 10-year-old with that much power, you must truly be his son. It's kind of emphasized, the his. So she knows something more about Negi. Uh, Negi saves Nodoka as Evangeline retreats. Um, Kanoka and Asuna then manage to appear, just come by. Um, Negi chases after Evangeline and she tells him, "Catch me, I'll tell you his story." Catches up to her and when Negi asks about this person that's he assumes is his father. She refers to Negi's father as the Southern Master. Someone flies in to help Evangeline, and it's another student, Chachamaru Karakuri, who is Evangeline's partner. Uh, Negi tries to cast a spell. He tries to cast spells to fight against him, but Chachamaru just keeps stopping him and just pretty much with close combat. Um, he's trying to do range spells at range and whatnot, and then Chachamaru is able to just fight him with her fists and whatnot. Evangeline reveals that the Southern Master put a curse on her, and the only way to break the curse is to drink the blood of one of the Southern Master's relatives. That's what she believes. Before Evangeline can drink Negi's blood, Asuna comes and jump kicks both Evangeline and Chachamaru. Evangeline and Chachamaru then retreat. The next day, Negi is hesitant to teach his class, and Evangeline ditches class. A small creature then comes through a portal, and Evangeline senses it. So the small creature touches the girls in the bath, and Asuna stops him. He introduces himself to Negi and Asuna as Albert Chamomile, a talking ermine that's old friends with Negi, and Negi calls him Chamo-kun. Chamo in what's Argentinian or something means pal or friend or something like that. Something of that nature. I could be off. Negi apparently saved Chamo from a trap when he was younger. Chamo tells Negi that his sister sent him to help Negi out. Chamo talks to Negi and Asuna about finding a partner, and Chamo thinks that 3A has a girls to be his partner. Chamo first suggests Nodoka. Asuna finds a letter from Negi's sister, but Chamo says that he'll take it to Negi. There's a letter in Nodoka's locker from Negi asking to meet him, and so they meet. Chamo makes this magic circle, which is apparently used to make a probationary contract, which enables the Ministal Magi to protect and help the wizard. Contract is not permanently binding, and in order to complete the contract, Negi has to kiss Nodoka. So they're actually about to kiss, but Asuna stops them. Asuna shows a letter to Negi saying that Negi's sister did not send Chamo to him, but instead Chamo is on the run for assorted crimes. Chamo then makes up the sob story, and then Negi makes him his familiar. Chamo then suggests that in order to beat Evangeline and Chachimaru, that Negi and Asuna make a probationary contract. They tried to make the contract, but instead of kissing them on the lips, she kisses them on the forehead, which I guess doesn't really complete the contract. Negi, Chamo, and Asuna spy on Chachimaru when she's alone and find out that she's just real nice and a caring robot. They then fight against Chachimaru, Negi, and Asuna, and with the contract, Asuna is faster than ever. Negi casts a spell on Chachimaru, but at the last second reverses it. Chachimaru then retreats. Negi then gets depressed after Chama lectures him about not defeating Chachimaru. Chama shows Negi and Asuna that Evangeline is a wanted criminal with a high bounty on her head. Negi then flies away, ashamed, into a forest, loses his wand, and runs into Kaede Nagase, who's doing secret training in a ninja suit. So she's a ninja, apparently. So they do things like fish, other stuff. They even bathe together. She also shows some of her abilities to him. In the morning, Negi gets up before Kaede, summons his wand, and flies away. Kaede secretly sees him use magic and finds out that magic and wizards do indeed exist. Next morning, Negi seeks Evangeline to give her a letter of challenge. He goes to her house, which is a cabin. Chachimaru tells him that she's sick. Chachimaru leaves the cabin to get antibiotics while Negi cares for this bedridden Evangeline. She dreams about the Southern Master, and Negi uses a spell to look into her dream. And in the dream, she's fighting the Southern Master. It turns out the Southern Master only knows a few spells and was a magic school dropout. He puts a chaos curse on Evangeline that confines her to Mahora Academy. While he put the curse on her, she tells him that she actually liked him. The next day, Evangeline returns to class. Alone, Chachimaru and Evangeline look at a computer and find out that a force field surrounds the entire academy that suppresses Evangeline's magic. Chachimaru tells Evangeline that Negi now has a partner in Asuna. Negi is informed that they will have a blackout that night, and during the blackout, Chachimaru breaks the force field and Evangeline's powers return. Negi is out patrolling with Chama at this point. So, Makie and 3 other 3A students are in the bath. Makie gets possessed by Evangeline, and then Makie finds Negi and tells him that Evangeline challenges him to a battle. Chamo suggests Asuna for help, but Negi wants to fight alone. Negi comes prepared with a bag of magical guns and wands. Negi then confronts Evangeline, who is Chachimaru, and four girls from their class 3A, Akira, Yuna, Ako, and Make, at the bathhouse with her. Negi defeats the 4 girls. Chama goes to Asuna's room and informs her that Negi is fighting alone. So as Negi fights Evangeline and Chachimaru on a bridge, Asuna comes and jump kicks Evangeline. Negi and Asuna make an official probationary contract and then fight against the 2. Negi and Asuna win. He uses a spell that strips her of her clothes. The power they're on this bridge too, so which is on the edge of where the force would have been. So the power comes back on early, and Evangeline loses her powers, but also touches the area of the force field. So she falls into the water, and as she's falling, she starts to remember the past with her and Negi's father. At the end of the volume, Negi saves Evangeline from falling and boasts about his victory. So, thoughts on Volume 3. Now we're actually getting somewhere with this Evangeline story arc. Now, Evangeline is a really neat character and just this really good foil for Negi. Negi's like really nice, responsible kid. Evangeline's very mean. Doesn't seem to like anyone really. Really off-putting. Um, and powerful as well. It's also just nice to see the first antagonist of the series. And also, it kind of seems that Evangeline just kind of plays into the bigger narrative, which seems to involve Negi's father, Southern Master, Thousand Master, whatever you want to call him. Um, it's also interesting that Chochimaru was an opponent for Negi, and you know she seems really nice and polite. Makes you wonder, like, who else in the class knows about magic and whatnot. Because, like, Kaede, neat character, she's a ninja, you know? And it appears that more students are going to find out about Negi being a wizard. I mean, you already have, like, Asuna, Evangeline, Chechimaru, Kaede. I mean, and it just can't help but feel the list is kind of growing here. It's also nice that, the book's about magic, so it's nice to just kind of see like magical action. It's kind of RPG-ish in a sense. You have the magic user, the fighter, and whatnot. Um, it's also nice to just see like some real strategy used in order to beat Evangeline. It's not like Negi has some like dormant power and he's just gonna blast Evangeline with, I don't know, super lightning or something. No, that's not how it worked. I do like Chamo. He's just this really funny side character, like sidekick character, mascot character, and whatnot. And then you also see like this growing relationship between Negi and Asuna. It's really interesting. It doesn't look like love, obviously. It'd be weird if it is, because Negi's like 10 and Asuna's like older than him. Um, but you can tell that like care about each other. So on to Volume 4. At the beginning of the volume, Negi and Asuna run into Evangeline and Chachimara at a cafe. Evangeline believes that Negi's father died 10 years ago. Negi tells her that he met him 6 years ago in the dead of winter and that he gave Negi his wand. So that's where Negi got his like giant wand. Evangeline suggests that Negi go to Kyoto since his father lived there, so he might find a clue of his whereabouts. In class, Negi announces that they are going to a field trip to Kyoto and Narai. With a meeting with the headmaster tells Negi that the Kansai Magic Association is at odds with the Kanto Magic Association, which the headmaster is the director of. The headmaster sends Negi to the west, or Kansai, as a special emissary. He gives Negi a letter to give to the Kansai director. He informs Negi that there are special forces who want to keep the two associates apart and may give him interference. He also tells Negi that Kanoko's parents want Kanoko to remain unaware of her magical tendencies, and that must remain a secret to her. Chamo asks Negi if a card appeared when he made the probationary contract with Asuna. Negi shows it to Chamo. Kanoko is fascinated with the card, and she's told that she could get one if she kisses Negi. She kisses Negi's cheek to make the probationary contract, but it creates a card with the picture of a super deformed Kanoko. Chamo then reveals that each proper probationary card nets 50,000 Ermine dollars. Kanoko and Negi go shopping. After some shenanigans, he rests on her lap. She says something, and a small glow appears at the end of her finger. They are apparently shopping for a birthday present for Suna's birthday, which was on that day. So on the day of the trip, Class 3A is split into 6 groups and are on a bullet train. With Group 6, there are only 2 students, Zaize Rainy Day and Setsuna Sakurazaki, since Evangeline and 2 others are absent. Setsuna is put into the same group as Kanoka, and they seem to know each other, but Setsuna gives Kanoka the cold shoulder. So on the bullet train, a bunch of frogs terrorize the students and Negi. During the confusion with the frogs, a bird takes a letter from Negi, and as Negi chases after it, the bird passes by Setsuna, who has a sword, and it slices in half and falls on the ground. Setsuna picks up the letter, tells Negi she found it on the ground, and hands it to Negi. Setsuna warns Negi to be more careful, especially when he arrives at Kyoto. Chamo doesn't trust Setsuna and believes that she is a spy from the West. So the class visits different places, drinks from the water of the Ottawa waterfall, Ottawa waterfall. A lot of the class gets drunk. Chamo thinks that it's Setsuna's doing. Negi then informs Asuna of the situation. So in a Japanese outdoor bath, Negi bathes alone, but Setsuna walks in. Negi hides, but Setsuna senses someone else, and then uses techniques from the Shinmei school on him. Setsuna apprehends Negi and tells him that she is not an enemy, but an ally. A scream is heard, and Negi and Setsuna run back to the inn. Setsuna refers to Kanoka as Kanoka Ojo-sama. So that's like a son of reverence. A bunch of small monkeys are attacking Kanoka and Asuna. Setsuna tries to stop them and explains that they are second-rate Omyo gods made out of paper. The monkeys try to take Kanoka away, but Setsuna stops them and saves her using a Shinmei school technique. Setsuna then runs away. Because apparently she doesn't she's not comfortable being around Kanoka, but she wants to help her out. And as all that was happening, a shadowy figure was watching. Kanoka explains her past her past to Asuna and Negi, her past with Setsuna, and that Setsuna was a fresh friend as a child. Setsuna protected Kanoka from danger but couldn't save her when she fell into a river. Setsuna then started devoting her life to training with the sword. When Kanoka moved to Mahora Academy, so did Setsuna, but Setsuna gave her the cold shoulder. Kanoka is sad that they aren't friends like they used to be. So Negi, Chamo, Asuna, and Asuna find Setsuna, who's placing Omyo gods sheets of paper at the top of the entrance of the inn. Setsuna tells them that the enemy is probably a talisman user. So Negi, Asuna, and Setsuna decide to become like a defense brigade. Negi decides to do some patrolling and runs outside. As he's running, runs into a maid cart, but the maid has a monkey with her and knows that Negi is a wizard. Asuna goes back to her room and wakes up Kanoka, who goes to the bathroom. The maid, wearing a giant monkey suit, is waiting for her. Setsuna and Asuna find out that Kanoka has been captured. Chamo explains to Negi what the probationary contract card can do. It can communicate telepathically with the partner, can summon the partner from far away, and it can invoke the partner's abilities and tools. Negi uses the card to speak with Asuna, and she tells him that Kanoka has been kidnapped. The woman in the giant monkey suit jumped from somewhere and lands right in front of Negi while holding Kanoka. Smaller monkeys stop him from attacking her. Setsuna and Asuna catch up to Negi and chase after the woman into a train station. Kanoka suggests that the enemies are trying to, Setsuna suggests that the enemies are trying to use Kanoka's power to take control of the Kansai Magic Association. They get out of the train and chase the monkey woman up a stairs and fight against her. Negi uses the card to summon Asuna's weapon, which is like a Harrison fan, which is like a fan, used in comedy skits in Japan apparently. The woman gets a giant monkey and this giant teddy bear as her protective demons. Female swordsman Tsukuyomi from the Shinmei school appears and fights against Setsuna. So Asuna and Setsuna defeat their opponents, and with Negi, fight against the Monkey Woman to try to save Konoka, and then they defeat her. So the next day, Negi decides to sightsee with Nodoko's group. With the help of Nodoko's friends, Nodoka manages to get Negi alone and admit to him that she loves him. She then runs away. Negi faints. He's only 10. you know? In the end, Negi is just absolutely preoccupied with Nodoka's declaration of love. So the students want to know what's going on, so they get Kazumi Asakura, a reporter for the Mahora newspaper, to investigate. Asakura immediately finds out that Nodoka confessed to Negi. She follows Negi and sees him performing magic, and heard or saw Chamo the Ermine speaking. Asakura tries to get the scoop from Negi and has proof of wizardry on her cell phone. Negi doesn't cooperate, and using magic, he breaks Asakura's cell phone. At the end of the volume, Asakura loses her scoop and her evidence of him being a wizard, but Chamo seems to have taken a liking to her. So thoughts on Volume 4. It looks like Konoka has the ability to use magic, obviously. Whether we'll see it in the future or not remains to be seen. Should be assumed that we'll probably see it. We're even now we're getting a better idea of the world of Negima, by them going to Kyoto. And there's this whole thing with the associations and whatnot. I like Setsuna. She's like this cool, silent type character. She's also a strong fighter. Very interesting that the Shinmei school is present, and as that's something that's carried over from Love Hina, as that was the school where Motoko learned her skills from. Kind of hints that the two universes are, or at least the stories take place in the same universes, possibly. Setsuna was actually kind of like Motoko, just kind of aloof, really calm, cool, collected, strong, aloof, doesn't say much unless she has to type of thing, not particularly social. But I like the Setsuna character, it's, you just kind of need someone like that, everyone seems to be so spastic, quite honestly, Makie, Asuna at times, and whatnot, everyone's just kind of like this spaz, So it's nice to see Setsuna just being like the cool, aloof character. It's also nice that there's just kind of like a real sense of danger in this volume. I guess there are some in the last volume with Evangeline, but at the same time, Evangeline was a part of the class, so it's kind of like, she's not really like an outsider, trying to fight them. In this case, the Monkey Woman is a real outsider. It's also interesting that Setsuna fought someone else from the Shinmei school, Tsukiyomi. It seems like Tsukiyomi really wanted to fight her. And also, they showed Asakura at the end of the volume. She seems to be important. It seems like with every continuous volume that more and more characters are starting to know about Negi, him being a wizard, and the existence of magic. I can't really say much about Asakura yet. She's obviously very perceptive and whatnot, but don't really have much. I can't really say I have much of an opinion about her at this time. So that's all for today. Thank you for listening to these manga reviews. Next week I will review volumes 5 through 8. Also check out the free reading of pages 1 through 7 of The Mustard Prince in the Convent Kingdom. And also next week, check out the free reading of volumes 8 through 14 of The Mustard Prince in the Convent Kingdom. So, thank you guys, and until next time.